Earth debate live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Neil and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server, so welcome one and all.
Let's get it on.
Oh, hello.
Let's get what on? I put the word out. I was like, I feel really bad. I've got face ache, don't feel very good. Hopefully you will have lots of people in the G Plus panel to bail me out in my time of need when I'm trying to get into the flow of having live shows on a regular basis after a couple of weeks off. But no, it's just Neil. Not just Neil, it's the wonderful and almighty Neil. It's the reason people are terrified of Flat Earth at the moment.
I sent the word out and freaking nobody showed up. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's too early, maybe it's summer, and maybe there's a little bit of a lull.
Maybe
Who knows?
Maybe it doesn't matter. We're censored to all frig at the moment, so it really does not matter in the slightest. Like, we will get a minimal audience. And for the foreseeable future, I'm not that fussed. I mean, in terms of YouTubing, it's, as I discussed it in the pre-show with you, a pot that isn't necessarily, I'm going to mix metaphors, that fruitful at the moment, or you're describing it like various different pies that you've got your hands in. And the videography pie for me at the moment, because of the subject I cover predominantly, which is Flat Earth, isn't fruitful, right? It's not a great pie to have your hand in. So if I'd have tried to bolster the lull, which is enormous, by, like last year, Omi videos, it would have been totally unsuccessful. I'd have been, like, terrified of the outcome, like my mortgage not getting paid, if I'd have attempted to bolster that lull, because it's massive. And as discussed in the pre-show, I'll stop saying that now. I'm prefacing everything with the fact we've just discussed this. The TFE outcome is the impression that everyone's walking away from this subject. Jaron having corralled everyone into a big group that hate us, and we're seen as the enemy, FED bad, are then disbanded with the impression that, well, there's not really anything to this subject anymore, this subject being the combination of people's beliefs in nonsense waffle about a subject that has nothing to do with Earth measurements. Earth measurements being flat is our part of this discussion, and this is where the whole point of me saying this, it not mattering, comes into play. Censored to all frig. Like, there's no way we're going to meet that many people's ears and eyes with them wanting to create the impression that everyone's disbanded from Flat Earth. Me saying, yeah, Earth's still measured flat and there's nothing I can walk away from. If you want me to say, I believe in a ball, like I did yesterday, everyone's like, everyone's going to trim that out. Well, I believe in a ball that's come from Flat Earth measurements. Yeah, okay, I believe in your ball. It doesn't change that I know how that ball was created, and the Earth being measured as a flat plane is involved foundationally with everybody's ball belief. Now I know that. You can't get me back on a ball, because in a ball is where that would be happening. Again, with an advanced heliocentric understanding, being within a ball isn't something I can reify, rightly so. You know, that has gone for me. But you want me to, what, believe in that ball that everyone else in the Western world believes in? I can do that. I can snap into it really easy. I've got 2 kids who I don't want ridiculed in society, and they won't be. They know better, they're too smart. So they're going to nod along when some tosser starts telling them about how Earth's a sphere in a sky vacuum. Neither of my 2 kids will go, oh no, you realise Earth's flat. No, that was for all the dickheads that followed along with the idiot version of Flat Earth, where we spouted nonsense waffle about JFK and 9/11. Yeah, that was never me to begin with. I found that all quite objectionable, and I've never taught my kids to preach about Flat Earth. I've taught them all about heliocentrism, like a good British citizen would. It's the national religion of my country. Why wouldn't I teach it them? What's that? You want me to believe in it like you believe? Sure. Does it change that I know Earth's flat? No, and it'll be very embarrassing if I was being interviewed by Simon Dan, having declared my belief in being on a ball. Yeah, just a belief that I can hold if I like. I can believe that the world is made of cheese. I can believe a lot of different things. But it doesn't change that I know Earth's measured flat now, does it? Now, me saying that, I can say it with all the gusto you'll ever hear from me in the most concise way you'll ever hear it. But when there's only 50 people watching, who cares? It doesn't matter, does it? We can do whatever we like. If I want to play Fortnite live, I'm going to do it. I haven't even done housekeeping this week much. Why? Because he's listening. They want it to seem like there's been a, quote, exodus. Oh, I'll have it. I don't mind. I'll sell the microphones till that kibosh is off, right? You know what I mean? And if there's never a relinquishment of the kibosh, you'll just see me turn into somebody who likes playing games every 2 o'clock. You know what I mean? And occasionally interrupting a Fortnite session and mentioning that, Earth's measured flat, because I'll still keep the door open. It'll still be called Flat Earth Debate, because I love this bit of my life. I'll never relinquish it. So if I'm a thorn in your side as a ball believer, yeah, I'll still be here pointing out that Earth's measured flat, even if you've got a ball belief, even if you want me to retain it alongside you. Oh, yeah, I believe in a ball too, yeah. Yeah, what's that equatorial plane that we have to use for the orbital motion that Kepler described? For the church? Yeah, I can do that. I know that the church wants us to believe that in this country. No worries. Yeah, I can teach my kids it too. No problem. You want me to believe with you? Yeah, sure. Yeah, no worries. I still know Earth's flat, though. That's how it's measured. In all instances, in all regards. For everyone. That'll never change. Being in a load of debt. Go on.
The book will just continue to validate it. And you said something yesterday about the written word. It's strong. When it's written down, it gives it strength. I don't know what it is.
That wasn't a show. That was a joke. Somebody got in touch with me. Let me tell the audience. So someone got in touch with me on eBay. Right, I woke up to a message from somebody, and it's about a cable I sell. It's an adapter cable for an old vintage microphone, so you can check if your microphone that you've bought on eBay is a piece of garbage or not by having an adapter to plug it into a modern interface. And I sell these adapters for about a tenner. But because it matches what I want the postage to be, select a particular type of postage that offers next day postage. I'm very prompt at getting things out the door. I've prefaced this, it all makes sense in a minute, I promise. Because the kid contacts me, I say kid, you'll understand why in a second, to say that these cables do not require postage to have age verification. Why are you selling this item with postage that requires age verification when verification of age is only for prohibited items? Question mark. My reply. Can I see some ID, please? Microphones I use with the spoken word. And the spoken word is possibly the most dangerous weapon of them all. I'll screenshot it. I can just see it being sung on some TikTok short.
Well, it was important when God's finger wrote the laws on the stone tablets. Something about the written word gives it strength. Anyway, you're still public enemy number one. And doesn't Jamin look very uncomfortable doing these videos? I noticed that. Rarely makes eye contact. Looks very uncomfortable.
I wasn't really watching when they were covering it on Ballbusters or QE Live, as the case may be, on Tuesday. I had it on in the background, but I wasn't actually looking at Quantum Eraser's video. Even if I was looking at my iPad, I'd been looking at my eBay store, so I wasn't really looking at I wasn't doing my behavioural panel thing. And again, I know that he's going to be covering it. I'm glad QE gave me a heads up, because I don't know if he's doing it surreptitiously or subtly to nod. Look how well I know you, Nathan, personally. Because when he subtly suggested that I don't cover Dan, he didn't need to and he wouldn't normally, but he did. Now, I mentally went, he's noted that with me. He wouldn't normally, he just got on with it, right? wouldn't expect me to be covering it, is what I'm saying. But he covered it, and then when it got to the parts where they're talking about me, it's far better that I'm actually not there when that's happening. So I appreciated him giving me a heads up, because it's awkward. If you want to critique something on topic about Flat Earth, and suddenly the person that's critiquing the subject matter starts critiquing you while you're critiquing them, that gets awkward right quick and confusing for an audience. So me not being there was actually very good, and me not covering it was also very good. So I was appreciative that QE gave me a heads up. Now, I don't know if he did that because he would know that I don't like covering people when they're covering me, covering them, etc., etc. You know, that all becomes quite convoluted quite quickly, and that would be definitely an example of that when they're discussing me. That would be, for context of the audience now, my audience, Jaren and Simon Dan on their show discussing Flat Earth, and my name coming up more than a few times. Now, before the show had actually kicked off in proper, QE show that is, I was in the chat saying, I hear this is going to be a Nathan heavy show, because someone had prompted me that Dan and Jaren had my name in their mouth quite frequently. Now, although I hadn't seen it, that was the impression I'd been left with. Now, the commenter in QE's live stream chat was like, no, they hardly mention you. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's not what I heard.
That's not true. And you know what? They go to sleep. This is how they go to sleep, Nathan. Nathan Oakley. Nathan Oakley.
Snoozing my name, huh? Z's coming out with N's instead of Z's.
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious. I mean, that Simon, Dan, get a life, buddy.
Yeah, I'm not worth it, guys. You don't need to, lose sleep over me. Little old me. I mean, what are you going to do? Well, how are you going to change my mind when you're all affirming what I already know? You know, your expensive trips to Antarctica to measure the sun with respect to a plane really aren't going to change my mind much. You know, putting out $10,000 challenges that use elevation angles off a flat Earth, that, again, you're not going to change my mind with any of this crap. Because you need a flat Earth for it. Hey, chocolate.
Yeah, it's all measured flat.
Yeah, nothing's going to change that, is it? That's how it is. That is the world we live in. And I have an appreciation of the world that we inhabit through the measurements that we utilise of Earth. Now, anybody who's measuring Earth ever also has the same appreciation if they believe Earth is a ball or not. That's it. That's the end of this story. That's where this story of a flat Earth ends. For me, you, if you're delusional, ball-believing, hateful, anti-flat Earth, or completely oblivious to everything. Regardless, Earth is just dealt with as a flat plane. Doesn't make any difference about whether or not you like that or want to believe in Copernicus and the Church's view of a heliocentric orbital motion-based, also on a flat plane. You can
but
do
that's the problem, Nathan.
Like. Dead.
That's the problem, Nathan. There used to be a commercial in the 70s, a shampoo commercial, where they told two friends and so on and so on and so on. Now, you know that, but then your videos continue to go out and somebody else recognizes that and they tell somebody and somebody else recognizes that and they tell somebody and so on and so on and so on.
Check it out. Jardo gifted 20 memberships, and there's a whole bunch of people who are here. When we're in this lull, one thing that's for sure is have the most concentrated and dedicated audience at this moment in time. So while there's less than 60 people watching, 57 people watching, right? Every single person that got a membership out of Jardo today was deserving of one. I can say that without any doubt in my mind. We have a very focused, a very concentrated audience. Thank you so much for gifting all those memberships, Jardo.
Except Apocryphon.
You're welcome.
Yeah, everyone who will have had one of those will appreciate it. I am in no doubt. Shout out to Fisherman in a Box. We could do some, as I say, how refined my audience is. Fisherman in a Box leaves a message. Nice. Yeah, indeed it is. Shout out to you, sir. Fisherman in a Box, you do great work. You will no doubt be suffering the same kibosh as I am, right? He is a man who will appreciate what I'm talking about. He'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, you put out a good video, you go to a lot of work, you put a lot of effort into it, and for a man of YouTube size that Mr. Innerbox is, he will find that he'll get 20 views from a video that should be getting 200, 300, realistically 1,000. But you know what I mean? He's a relatively small channel. But he'll be like, what the hell? 10 views? I know. I haven't even looked at him recently, but I'm almost 100% certain that will be the case. Yeah? In other words, there's nothing proactive I can do. It won't be proactive, will it? It would be reactive. But there's nothing I can reactively do to combat this at this time. You know, it was preordained that the impression of a flat earth, like I say, the nonsense waffle version of flat earth, the community-based version of flat earth, was deemed to be looking like it's being disbanded, because it is at this time in history. This wave, this resurgence, was being dissolved in 2025 through the summer. So, like I say, what am I going to do? A few more Omi videos to combat that? Hell no, that's not going to make any difference, isn't it? Is it? Shout out to Joe Wilhelmer, who says, can't wait for the book. Me neither. I mean, I'm a lot more laid back and will be for the forthcoming or foreseeable future, because there's less audience members to be, you know, stressed or concerned. No, I wouldn't be concerned if there was 500 people watching, but you know what I'm getting at. You know, it's one of them. If you've got a limited audience, you can just think, oh, well, just get on with it. We can do whatever we like, right, for a bit. And then once the book comes out, it's step on the gas. Hello, chocolate. That'll be when my research starts. When the book comes out, I'll be promoting it. And you'll be like, oh, okay, so things will pick you up again.
Yeah, I was just about to say Fisherman in a Box is here when you said it. What's up, Chalk?
What's that?
Sky? With respect to a plane.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. You can only be up with respect to a plane. Up, down, those are directionalities that can only be described with respect to a flat Earth. In and out is all the ball will give you. If you want to reify it, if you want to believe in that model that's created by, you know, virtue of measuring a flat plane and angles to stars and stuff, then yeah, you can reify it, but you can't have up and down on it. So what's up the sky with respect to a plane?
Well, some people might think that there's more sky beneath their feet, though. So that could be one of those things when you think you live on a ball.
That's where I was going with it. They're on a ball. The sky's not up, Nathan. But that's Big Ball Dave rhetoric.
Another shout out to Joe Wilhelmer. He says, now here's some dollars for you and your beautiful family. Oh, thank you so much. Sends me $20. I really appreciate the support. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, that's what I was saying in the pre-show, actually, Joe. That, you know, when I talk about microphones, they're like a little stopgap to fill a deficit that is predominantly or wholly filled by people like yourself, super chatting and giving me PayPals and all that kind of stuff, keeping the lights on. So, yeah, I just don't want anyone getting the impression that suddenly, oh, right, you're doing all right with microphones. You're like, yeah, no. A few $100 that I'm short because of lack of ad revenue currently is not what keeps the lights on. People who watch, people who've supported me forever since I've been doing the show, what keeps the lights on. Having a bit extra where I'm losing money to ad revenue because they want to create an impression that there's an exodus. Like we joked about it, Exodus, you having a laugh? We're still here, dickheads. Not in the mind's eye of anybody watching YouTube because we're censored to like worse than I've ever experienced it. Normally I'm like, oh, I'm a bit hesitant to say this. Or should I say we're censored? Because I'll come across as a bit of a conspirator. Well, now, I don't care. Number one, there's nobody watching. So what am I going to say? Like, yeah, I better not say we're censored. It's like, number one, who's going to hear me? Number two, that's making my frigging point. So I don't care. I'm not going to look like a conspirator by saying it. It's a fact. We are. And there's good reason for it. They need you to think that the community of Flat Earth is disbanded. Well, given that I didn't really want to gather one, I can't really moan. I can only laugh about it. But from a YouTube perspective, you're like, oh, crap. I really do want those numbers to be better. Because I'm a YouTuber, first and foremost. That is where my heart is. You know, talking about Flat Earth, you might notice the videos of me doing stuff with my kids I'll always be a YouTuber. There'll always be something for me making videos about. If it's going up to the local church and talking about flat earth benchmarks, that's wonderful. But if it's doing Little Red Riding Hood with my eldest daughter because she's keen to do a bit of dramatics, then that's just as good to me on YouTube. Meanwhile, the subject that gets my most emotion, the most passion is flat earth and always will be. But for the public, they need to think that we're being disbanded at the moment. We, under the collective terminology of flat earthism, that being the bullshit version that we all hate.
This thing of us being disbanded and there's an exodus of flat earth. That seems a little strange, being that the globe proponents continue to tell us how it's too big to measure the curve. Yeah, that doesn't really quite solve their problem, does it? So what? So there's an exodus of people who know it's flat, and a bunch of people who are going to say it's flat, but actually a ball. That's quite strange.
It's not strange. We've just recognised it. That was already, and you well know it, woven into the fabric of their discussions with us. They were always saying so big it's flat. We just never noticed. So they've magically woven it in that people can tolerate the cognitive dissonance of it being measured flat and justify it with statements like that because it's a really big ball when I measure Earth as a flat plane, like it always is. So, yeah, they're clever in their conjurings of that psychology in the mind's eye of everyone who's a baller. I don't know how they've done it. I mean, it's a magical...
It's not that we never noticed it. It's just that we would say, well, it's not too big to measure curve because you're saying there's a curve. It's not that we didn't notice you're saying that. We're like, why are you saying that?
Stop. That's the magic trick, isn't it? You just told me, you being chocolate saying the flat earther, that it's not too big to measure curve. Every ounce of my disdain towards David Weiss is because he props up the Feast of Nonsense by summarising what you just said in everything he does.
Yeah, and that's what we used to say. That's what used to come out, right?
Yeah, that's what the Feast of
until
Nonsense
very
creates.
recently, until like you said, until we realized it's not like we didn't hear what they were saying, but we realized like that's not what we should be saying against that. Just go with it. So now it's thanks.
Yeah.
We know it's too big to measure the curve because it's not curved. Thanks.
What we call the Feast of Nonsense here is the controlled opposition narrative that trains flat earthers to tell normies how to calculate Earth curve. So Dave is your archetypical flat earther because what does he spend all day doing? Training his audience how to measure Earth curve. Telling you whether you should be seeing it or you shouldn't be seeing it. That's what flat earthism is. Well, no, Earth's flat. It's measured that way. But that's not how we're trained to be flat earthers.
No, we were too busy looking for the curve with them.
Yeah, exactly. What is it to be a flat earther? Well, to go out and look for Earth curve. That's what they need it to be. So when those people who were out looking for Earth curve get disbanded because the looking for Earth curve can stop for a minute because we're looking at the sun going round in a circle in Antarctica, you can quickly forget.
But that's
if
not
you
that
censor
rare.
us, you can quickly forget.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. You can quickly forget MC Toon screaming, "Where are the guns, Nathan?" And he tried to deflect with measurements. You can forget all of that if we've seemingly disappeared with censorship. I'm done. Go ahead, Chocolate.
I was going to say it's not that rare a thing to hear flat earthers when they're giving their origin story that what they say is they were looking for the curve, right? Because they're in their mind, it's supposed to be there. It should just be there, right? If it's curved, it should just be there. We shouldn't have to look for it. But a lot of times, flat earthers still say, yeah, I was looking for the globe and couldn't find it.
Right, and what do you get from our chat? Wake now. It's true. Earth is measured flat, and then crazy math and absurd reasoning is applied to the flat Earth measurements to make up this ball. Yeah, when I said we got a concentrated and focused audience, man, I was not wrong. Nice to read messages like that. Wake now. You've just typified my point when I say that we've got a really, really, really hyper-focused audience. Limited in numbers, marvellous to see that sort of stuff going back in my live chat. Cool. Very cool.
And the majority of people out there are either looking for the curve or trying to prove the curve doesn't exist. And that's where Dave Weiss is at. And
Yep.
that's where he's sitting. That's where he's making his money.
Yeah, and that helps the narrative. Yeah, great. Let's get the flat earthers looking for curve, whether or not it's not there, and get them telling the opponents that they need to look for the curve that is there, and go to the maths and get everyone trained in the maths. Wonderful. That's how it needs to work. We dealt with that 5 years ago. Black Swan ended that.
Yeah, we did. But the majority of the people are there, and Dave's just riding on that wave.
As long as his app keeps
Yeah, but
selling.
you need those people. You need that side being spoken, I think.
No, you don't.
Because there are people who are going. I know you think we don't, but I think you do. Because, like I said, there's levels. Like I've said before, there's levels to this shit, right? And not everybody's going to get to where we're at immediately. Some people are going to have to stop at the floor of. We're looking for the curve. Where is the curve? Where is it?
Note
Before
to self,
they get up to the penthouse
second time Chocolate
it's just
said
measured flat.
that we should be looking for curve. Just make a quick mental note of this. So, I'm sorry, was I off mute?
Yeah. Put me on the list next to QE's.
Oh, I didn't mean that to come
fine.
through
You know
the
that-
airways. I'm
that's
really sorry,
mental.
Chocolate. I'm not suspicious of you at all.
Doc, there's
I
a
don't
difference,
care.
Chocolate. There's a difference when you're doing it, Chocolate, when you're laying it out. And I've noticed that than when David Weiss is. David Weiss is putting you on a ball, and he keeps reifying that Earth being a ball. When you do it, you're trying to bring people to an understanding that Earth is flat.
No, it's something. So, Bible U, who is a devout Christian, has got next to her name a crown and then #1. My word, I've got to do a better job of representing somebody like Paula, who's in my chat. I will try, Paula. I will try so hard not to swear. I'll be a better representative, given that you're wearing that badge in my chat. I am honoured that you're even here. Paula is Bible U, if you're unaware. She's got a wrench, and she's probably spending most of the time she watches the show rolling her eyes in disappointment at me. But she's still here. Can't believe my luck. It's an amazing resource. I'm so lucky. I don't
You would
deserve it.
join the panel every now and then if you'd wash your mouth out a little bit.
Exactly, yeah. I'd get more out of her. It's terrible to say something like that, but yeah, I'm not deserving. It almost sincerely brings a tear to my eye that I'll get support from people like Bible U. I'm not deserving of it, right? I'm definitely not worthy. I'm a foul-mouthed grunt who doesn't care about the community, and I've just spent 10, 15, 20 minutes saying it, and then I look down and someone like Paula's got a crown and #1 in my chat with a wrench. You're like... God's looking down and saying, hello. he's having a little nod also, isn't he? I'm so not worthy. I do feel honoured. The community here is a marvellous thing, isn't it, Neil?
Absolutely.
It's not a flat earth community though, is it? I don't want to say it like I did yesterday, like it's my community and it's Nathan Oakley 1980s membership. That's not what I mean when I'm talking about it in these terms. The people around us in general. Now, that is an FED thing, right? When Adam talks about FED bad, that's who I'm now talking about collectively. We're a fantastic group of people, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Collectively, we can all tap ourselves on the back and tell ourselves that. After acknowledgement of how terrible I am, I'll put that in. I'll acknowledge that first. Because I know, I know I'm a disappointment to a lot of people. Tenth man, if you're listening.
Yeah. And that's why
What do you mean,
That's
Adam
why
talking
we need
about
you to be
FED
clean.
bad? I copyrighted that
Hold on, I copyrighted
years
that.
ago.
One sec. Go ahead, Jado.
I said yes, and that's why we need you to be clean, so we can share your show and grow your show, especially prior to the book coming out.
Yes.
And I'm one that's been on to you for years about, I can't even listen to the show in my own house because my wife won't let me to listen to it because she just hates the anger and the vulgarity. but I've been listening to you since day one. I can't even listen to you in my own house. And this is where the community is at. We're here to support you, but sometimes we just need to let you know that there's going to be a point where when the book comes out, we can't have you doing this on the show.
I
No, I
said
totally
that
get it.
3 weeks
That's just
ago.
me.
No, I totally get it. Hold on, Neil. I need to acknowledge this without interruption. Yes, absolutely correct. That's the sentiment I'm putting across. I'm glad you verbalised it while I've tried to put that out into the airwaves with Paula as my muse to do so. Absolutely. There's a certain level of responsibility that I now also face with the book coming out. As much as I can express my excitement for publicising that book, great. But there's a huge responsibility that also comes along with it. So in this calm before the storm, it's a rehearsal for me to get a grip in that regard. And, you know, I'm acknowledging, that's what I'm doing today. I'm acknowledging that now, right? I recognise it and recognise that, you know, maybe it is the presence of someone like yourself and indeed Paula, as she was originally who I was mentioning it for, that can keep me on that track. There's a constant reminder that there's something wrong in that regard that needs addressing. From me personally, you know, I'm no stranger to introspection, and I'm glad that there's people around me to keep me on track. And have a disappointed nod, you know, because that's what I picture. She doesn't even have to do it, Paula, that is. She's not, I'm sure she's probably not sat there nodding and tutting and sighing. Maybe she is, but you know what I mean? Metaphorically. That's what I picture. Not because I picture her as some moany person. That's not what I'm getting at either. I just, you know, I sense the disappointment that I would conjure in somebody who's a devout Christian when I behave in the way that I do. Now, given that there's a certain responsibility to promote this book for the greater good of a genuine flat earth community, not the feast of nonsense spewing, Jaron rounded up, now disbanded, censored from us community, but the community that I'm praising. You know, they have high expectations of me, and I hope sincerely that I can meet those expectations moving forward. Linguistically, especially. Go on, Neil.
I'm glad everybody's catching this conversation with you a month ago. Now the book is coming out, and you have to have proper representation because people are going to be looking for you.
Yeah, I get it. So yes, there's going to be a second wind, if you will, for Flat Earth after 10 years because of the book, and it is of that higher significance. It will generate a second wind in this arena. The first being the Black Swan. That's where we put an end to the Feast of Nonsense. It was the last time we begged the question with them. Does everyone appreciate what that marked in the history of our subject expertise? How I just described the Black Swan. 1st of January 2020 marked the last time we would beg the question of a sphere Earth like we just discussed for the Feast of Nonsense. We are now highly critical of someone like Dave Weiss for peddling. Having us, the Flat Earthers, telling Globers how Earth should be spherical, as it was the case for about 5 years for me in this subject. Not being aware of how useful an idiot I was in promoting that globe when I told my opponents how ball-shaped it should be or should not be, how much Earth curve should be in the way, but was not. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's outdated. After the Black Swan, I agree with you. Shouldn't even be discussed like that anymore. We should just be talking about measurements. End of story.
Yeah, I can't even help it now. After 5 years of relinquishing the need to beg the question alongside our opponents, I see the Black Swan as requiring interjection for the flat planes of reference and parallel eye level that is required in the begging the question, proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculations that are utilised to beg the question alongside our opponent when we assert that if the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959, then every distance to the horizon could be measured no more than 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, precisely as laid down in the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculations. that require a surface level and parallel eye level to calculate your distance in altitude terms off a flat Earth and your distance to horizon in a linear mile measurement, all of which are flat Earth prerequisites. Now, 1st of Jan 2020, we were talking about how the Earth is no longer capable of being described as a sphere by reification because it fails the measurement tests based on their, begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve maths. Now, 5 years down the line, as I say, all I can identify is you'll need a flat Earth for that, you'll need a flat Earth for this, you'll need a flat Earth for that. In the case of Earth curve maths, you'll need a flat Earth to say how high you are off sea level, and you'll need a flat Earth to describe the linear distance in miles to the horizon that isn't physical. It's a nonsense spew of flat Earth measurements convoluted into an assertion that we have a physical geometric horizon. We don't. So it annoys me greatly when seeming compadres on the flat Earth side assist our opponents, this is Dave Weiss, in peddling the better understanding by our opponents of the curve maths Dave says we should or shouldn't see, with a crappy understanding of them to begin with. You know, we should be doing better if we're going to consider ourselves a community. Fortunately, I just say now Earth's measured flat. Here's a few examples. You've heard half a dozen of them since this show's been live. You can get on with your day once you've heard them. You don't need to stick around to tell me how wonderful I am or buy my app off me. And if you've got my book, once I start peddling that, you can be the flat Earth ninja that you hear people being on this show. Have been for 10 years.
The addition to
One more time, Chocolate. You broke up.
Can you hear it?
Just about.
I was just gonna say, like, I think it's important that we actually stop that at the floor of begging the question, right? Because look what came out of it, the Black Swan, right? Whatever you want to think about it, Logan really had no response to that because that was a destruction of their claim to physical geometry, right? So if we had it stopped there, we would have realized all that. And then move on to the measurements of Earth, which I think is makes it even more important. If you can hear what I'm saying, I know it's loud, sorry.
Yeah, I think I got most of it. Yeah, it marked the end of us begging the question. We no longer say if Earth's a sphere with them. It's like, no, Black Swan is what we say. I mean, prior to that, we were along those lines saying, you know, we won't beg the question, and that's what I would be saying. But the Black Swan gave it a logical consistency to go along with me saying, no, I'm not going to just beg the question of Earth being a sphere. Well, the reason I won't beg the question of Earth being a sphere is because there are no Earth curve measurements. Black Swan. If Earth was a sphere, then every distance to horizon measurement could be no more than the Earth curve math says it will be. And that's 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height off a surface level. You'll need a flat Earth for the height off surface level for the maths to function. It's not going to bend because eye level won't be parallel with it if it does. Axiomatically, Earth is flat for Earth curve maths. Yeah, that's a crazy statement, isn't it? Yeah, well, you were never going to see the side of your own head. It's an orthographic mathematics. So to say Earth's got to be flat for Earth curve maths when you're never seeing the side of your own head anyway isn't really that consequential. Or maybe it is to you if you thought the Earth was a ball. To me, it's just a better understanding of how Earth curve maths works. By measuring a flat Earth. That's how. Like I say, there's no turning back for me. There's no bribing me to be back on a ball. Say how much I believe. And even if you did bribe me, I'd say, yeah, I believe Earth's a ball. Because I know how flat it'd have to be measured to get there. Mathematically. I understand how Copernicus created orbital motion. From flat plane measurements of angles to stars. It's never going to change what I know. But if you want me to say, well, I believe it's a ball because of those flat Earth measurements that I know about now, that's really not going to be that convincing to people. I might convince them that Earth's flat to create the ball because those are the facts in the matter. Referencing Jaron probably being paid off to do some of the stuff he's doing currently. Speculative, of course, I don't know how much he was paid.
100% he was paid.
Yeah, it's bleeding obvious.
You know, he could be the dumbest or the smartest flat earther out there. I mean, if, take for example, he was infiltrating the globe Earth, what a brilliant way to do it, by pretending that you've flipped, getting in there while they've got their guards down and learning more about them, ready for you to flip back to the flat Earth.
Oh, I love wishful thinking. Hope springs eternal. You're hoping he'll flip back? Like, flip this whole thing on his head?
Yeah.
Expose the whole thing from the inside? You reckon?
I just wanted to add a little feel good to your show, that's all.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Jad, though. I've got to be honest. I don't think that's going to happen. You don't... You know, if you're actually on a road to truth, then there's going to be a certain acknowledgement of things that provide a path to truth, like the scientific method. You know, you're forgetting that I've spoken to this man personally.
I don't think that he has the ability to actually listen and take on board anything that anyone says, to be honest.
Fair enough. I mean, that was me, Hope Springs Eternal, thinking that eventually you could digest at least how empirical the scientific method was. And it certainly seemed, at least at one stage, that he was parroting off things that would allude to the idea that he had comprehended that nation. Now I know that time has shown otherwise, but it certainly seemed to be. It seemed so close. It was just within my reach. It seemed that way. And maybe this is the same. Maybe he's going to break the whole thing open, wide open, from within, Jardo. Maybe.
No, I think Neil had this on the head about 18 months ago when he changed his studio and it went all dark and he had all these new lighting. And from that time forward, he never looked at the camera. He never seen his eyes. And I think it was that period in time where he actually... I knew that there was some kind of a change happening, and it was only a matter of time before he flipped. And even now, if you look at him, he doesn't look at the camera. You can't see his eyes.
I didn't know that. I wouldn't know that. I never really watched Joan for a significant period of time. So if that's the case, I'll take your word for it. 75 people watching, not bad. About a 50% decrease in the audience. There we go. If you are watching, right, I am very grateful, in case you haven't picked up on this already. Hyper-concentrated audience that you are all my people. I know that for a fact. So thank you very much for joining us. If you are amongst the 75 people watching live, thank you very much for sharing the show. If you are amongst the people who have smashed that share button to get us 75 live audience members. So thank you very much to you two if you have shared the show. If you haven't shared the show, this might be an appropriate time to smash the share button. So smash that share button right now. 80 people watching. Wow. The dizzying heights.
If we get to 85, I'll hand out some more memberships.
Wowzer. There's an incentive to share. So smash that share button if you haven't done so already. And yeah, hit up everybody on your favourite social media platforms, be it Skype or Bebo, MySpace, whatever it is you're using. Well, nobody was subject to any microphone reviews in the middle of this live show. You'll be pleased, I'm sure. Nothing's arrived in the post. I was expecting several things to arrive today. And therefore I was going to break into... This is the Sony FV907BT. And it is a stereo condenser microphone with a dual omnidirectional pattern and a movable head shell. And this is how it sounds. None of that today. Although there is still time. We're not exactly ending the live stream just yet. Jardo has smashed the gift membership button, whatever that may be, and gifted another 10 memberships. Wow, 30 people have become members today. So pretty much half of the audience when I suggested that we had a concentrated audience, because there was about 60-ish people watching then. and Jardo's gifted about half the audience memberships. I literally could not think of a better time to gift out memberships, because everybody who gets one will be so worthy of getting one. I said this earlier, but it's still absolutely still the case. So no, there won't be a single person that will be like, "Oh, I regret getting this membership." So thank you very much, Jardo. Hopefully tomorrow we will cover a video. I don't know what I can do for a thumbnail for today's video. Anybody got any ideas? What do we? It's like I can't believe the time flies when you're having fun. It's almost 5 minutes before we typically end the live stream. 82 people watching. We'll definitely hit 85 thanks to Jardo's generosity. Nobody's answering me. Do you think we'll cover a live? Do you think we'll cover a video on the live stream tomorrow, gentlemen? Yes, Nathan.
Do you have one lined up?
You have?
Do you have one lined up?
Yes, kids.
No, but I'm suggesting that's what people can do as homework. Well, we've got 5 minutes left on this live stream. For tomorrow's stream, because it will be the last of the week, because hopefully I can suffer the agony of my face swelling up, and then we can get through one more day of live streaming. Then I'll feel like I'm like fully prepped to ease back into it on a permanent basis, because I was so touch and go not going to do a show today. I'm glad I did. It's been a lot of fun. But smiling kind of hurts. Yeah, we'll cover a video tomorrow. We'll dig something out and do a response video. But I need an idea for the thumbnail. What can I put on today's video? What can I search for on Google for a thumbnail?
Well, what do we talk about?
That's what I'm asking. Shout out to Himsake. Good show. Thank you, Nathan. I felt the same, Himsake. I just don't know what to put on the thumbnail after the show renders live.
You being public enemy number one.
Public Enemy? Like the band?
No, like you being public enemy number one.
No, but I'm saying you should say
just say
yes.
this flat.
Yes, definitely like the band, because then I can steal something directly linked to the 80s sensation.
Flavor Flav.
I've seen Public Enemy live.
How were they live?
Very good.
Chuck D's got that voice, right? And then Flavor Flav.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't specifically go to see them. It wasn't like I was at a Public Enemy concert. They were playing at a festival I was at. But I was like, oh, yeah, I'll go and see this. And it was ace. I was really impressed.
You know where they're from, right?
You're going to say Brooklyn?
No, they're not from Long Island. They're from Strong Island.
Yeah. And it was particularly low rent as well. Like, you know, the Public Enemy banner? They just had that, like, draped over the front of the DJ. That was it. It was very, very low rent. But I quite like that. You know, it was just about what they could do. Okay, well,
I always kind of like put them together with an NWA. Like NWA was from the West Coast, Public Enemy was from the East Coast.
Hang on a second. How do we get away with talking about niggers with attitude? Because that is literally the name of the band. I got banned from Politics server for saying niggers in response to somebody coming on and saying, we're going to get rid of these niggers in a soundbite with some racist twat being played into the show. That got me banned. Whereas if I specifically talk about niggers with attitude, that's what it's called. How'd you get around that?
Okay. Well,
I'm
it's
asking.
funny you say that.
This is not rhetorical in any way. How do you get around with it if the word nigger is in the title of the band? Or niggers. Is it niggers or nigger? It is niggers with attitude, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, you just like that word, don't you?
No, it's the name of the freaking band. Ninjas with attitude, says the Adam Meakin. That's not the name of the band. That's disrespectful to the band, as far as I'm concerned. If my band was called Niggers with Attitude, I'd want people to call it that, because that was its name. So to say,
no,
oh, well,
their name is NWA.
I'm going to rename your cartoon Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Does that seem reasonable to you, Neil? Would it be okay to call the Turtles Hero Turtles? Is that fair?
No, that's what you used to do anyway.
Yeah, that's what we did in Britain. Seems wrong. But I'm
Listen,
asking.
I understand the word. It annoys me too.
Turtles?
No, ninjas.
Ninjas. Fair enough.
You don't remember that little talk Righteous had with you, right? So you want to get banned from here too?
He's not going to ban me for talking about a band, right? No, not at all.
No, but the word associated with the band. You're going to get a phone call from Righteous, trust me.
No, I won't. No.
You need to get our own platform. That's what we need to
Righteous, you just think Righteous is unreasonable for some reason. Do you not think Righteous is a normal human being? A reasonable man?
do. But he came on and had this conversation with you and said, just don't use the word no more.
Okay. Well, contextually I had to. I had no choice, and he will know that. He will understand, I assure you, Neil. He is not an unreasonable man. Right? People aren't the projected societal average of dickheadness. People aren't that, right? Not the people, not today, not in this chat, not in this server, no, right? On another day, 6 months ago, with a couple of 100 people watching, maybe I'd agree with you. But today, this day, no. No, we are in the company of reasonable people, Neil. I will not accept that standard here, right? When I'm at my most relaxed and my most content doing what I do best. This being what I do. No, I won't accept that. Righteous is a reasonable man. No, it's how your concern is for some white guy being concerned with this. Who gives a shit? Ah, sorry, let's try not to swear. Getting passionate. Stop. Let's just take a breath. Right, let's just start that again. Who cares what some white guy thinks about this? Right? In all sincerity, if somebody's going to take offence, why would it be our concern with what some white guy thinks about that use of that word? Like, literally, who cares? Does it even concern him? Does he even have place to be offended by that? Is he what? On behalf of black people, I'm offended. Stop that. This is a stupid world if we adhere to this nonsense. I'm not going to do it. I refuse. No siree. We have a beautiful and fruitful language, and I want to use all of it. And I don't want to feel restrained when it comes to certain words. I hate that. And hate's a strong word, right? And on a date, I don't know how it's managed to come out, just by talking about NWA, something so beautiful. I would recite some of the lyrics, but that actually will get me demonetized.
Well, something funny was on today. I just stopped into 24/7 just to see what was going on and be a little bit of a scutch. And I stumbled across a Quackathon saying that he apologized to Crit and a few other people. And Crit was like, listen, you're not going to be judged on something you said. For one time, we're not going to ban you. And I said, oh, wait a second. That's a contradiction, buddy. And I brought the whole thing around. He goes, how's that a contradiction? What do you mean about Nathan? I said, yeah. You just said somebody's not going to get banned for one offense. And he just started naming a number of offenses that he had against you. But it had nothing to do with that word at that time that you said that one time to smooth over the situation that somebody else came in saying it derogatory.
Yeah, I don't know why you're worried about this, Neil. For whatever reason, they wanted rid, and they have, right? Now, in the aftermath, other people have had the same sort of, or similar sort of treatment. And again, it's like, taken very personally, whereas at the time...
I don't like the hypocrisy, Nathan.
Yeah, I get that. And that was discussed after the fact, and there was an example that I gave of the double standards with one of those particular mods, and Adam's attitude was like, well, I wouldn't lead with it. I'm like, I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy. So yeah, it's not like I'm going to disagree with you. Maybe that's why you said it. Were you in that conversation? I think you were. You manipulative little sod. I like it, Neil. I like it.
I don't remember, but I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I
you don't
like
remember.
When I'm there and I'm listening and I'm hearing hypocrisy, I'm like, hold on a second. You got a little contradiction here, and he knew right away what I meant. From what I
Were you in
understand, they had
politics?
it
But
with
I,
you, Nathan. They were done with Nathan Oakley, and that's fine. But don't hide behind an incident where you said a word because somebody else said it in a bad way, and you explained it and smoothed it over. Don't use that as an excuse. Be a freaking man.
I don't really understand what you're saying.
see,
You
Neil,
never do.
that's why you my ninja.
You're my ninja.
They just used that as an excuse because they were done with flat earth debate. There was no room for you no more. All right. So, but I consider them all phonies because they should have been saying it day one.
Hey, QE, we're still live, just so you know.
Okay. Where's Adam?
I don't know, we're doing book stuff.
I could do it for a little while, but I have to leave at 2. But he needs to join this VC. Besides that, I'm gonna
no
go
worries.
get him.
He's probably listening. He'll be along momentarily, and I'll open the hangout. I'll just open the door once we're all settled. Although
Yeah,
it's been a very relaxed live show.
Really? Oh, well, I'm glad you feel all warm and clammy. Why have you stopped now that I've told you that I like that open door policy of yours? Why now did you fucking change it?
No swearing. I haven't changed
Answer the
anything.
question.
I haven't changed anything. The whole closed door policy is to stop people being able to join if I accidentally reveal the link. It's a safeguard. So if I see a name that I don't recognise go bing bong, and I go, I don't know who that is, I don't have to let him in. This is a throwback. You were discussing this with Adam on your show on Tuesday about us being moulded by the people who are complete tyrants to us. One of the things that Adam brought up was on Iron Realm Media being porn bombed. And he was saying, oh, well, Nathan experienced the same thing. Well, that lock that you're talking about being removed is something I'll remove when there's a very, very, very limited group of people, i.e. the people editing the book, that need to be able to come and go freely from this VC, as you called it, what I call the Google Hangout. Well, at the moment, that is not the case. We're live. So I want every safeguard that can be in place. You know what I mean?
Oh, did you put out a second? Why all that long story? Do you put out a second link for the after show?
No.
So you did it for one day, and then that's it.
I didn't put out a second link ever. I just put out the same link. It's just happened to have the...
No. Focus. The other day, it was open.
Yeah.
The show.
Because we were going to do the book.
I can change the status from closed to open at any time.
Yeah, but we didn't do the book. I came onto the show.
What's that got to do with anything? You're just confusing me. I think you're doing it deliberately.
We were supposed to do the book that day. That's why you had the open door. And you saw
Stop getting involved. You're out of your element. Big Wachowski reference.
The big what?
Never mind.
Yeah, you better never mind. The big Legowski, is that what you said?
Big Wachowski. It's not Wachowski. What's it called? The Big Lebowski. 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 That's the one. Wachowski's the VI Wachowski, right? Vicky? Something else.
That's like saying that great movie, The Godson.
Yeah, exactly. I did butcher that totally, didn't I? What a great movie, The Grandfather. About some mob boss or something. You seen that movie, The Grandfather? You know.
That's even better than The Godson.
I'm sure it's called The Grandfather. Something like that. It's got that guy who's in Superman. Brando Marlon or
Marlon
something.
Brando?
Brando, that's him. He's terrible. He never learned any lines, you know. If you actually watch any of Marlon Brando, he's just reading off cue cards.
Yeah, they had to have them hanging all over the place for him.
Yeah, he just didn't learn any of the script. So he just slowly amble his way through reading off a cue card on camera, basically. He was like that in Superman. Just didn't learn anything. And he's a proper
but
pain in the ass.
when you come up with but when you come up with an idea to put tissues in your cheeks and talk like that, and that becomes the Godfather, you don't need to understand scripts or memorize them. Just hang them somewhere where they're out of view and I could read them.
Yeah, you're right. There's something about how he does it that he's still very good to watch. You can't deny it. But still, he was apparently a pain in the ass, and you can imagine that being the case. Like any bleeding actor, he's a total diva. I can completely relate.
From what my cousin tells me, Val Kilmer was the same way, a pain in the neck to work
All
with.
of them are. Actors generally are a pain in the ass. Bloody lovies. I got so sick of it, I changed courses. So all I was doing, I was talking earlier about being a trained actor. Actually, halfway through the course, I changed because I was so sick of lovies. So I moved on to the technical theatre course and learned about lighting and sound and stuff. That's why I can, absorb stuff about microphones and impedances and all that sort of stuff. Because I went on to the technical theatre course. So I had actors, musicians, and technical theatre.
You know who wasn't? Who's that guy? Philip Seymour Hoffman, whatever his name is. I got it backwards.
Yeah. The guy
he
from...
was good. My cousin said he was perfect.
Is it Red Dragon that he was in?
Yeah, he's the reporter that gets friggin' violated.
Super glued to a chair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, super glued
That was
to
a good flip up. My cousin said he was very good to work with. The guy was just perfect.
Yeah, it's probably because...
But then again, he died a month later.
I was going to say he's probably coked up to his eyeballs.
Yeah, that's what I was going to... Well, heroin, basically. But my cousin said he was great to work with. A month later, he died. It's a movie called God's Pocket.
Well, there you go. He was a very relaxed guy, apparently.
You ever seen God's Pocket?
No.
Well, look it up. It's a pretty good movie. My cousin is the guy that's bringing him meat. Well, he wants to buy meat from him.
Well, I'm glad we got all the context prior to you telling us about him bringing that meat to him, because now we know all about it. I'm glad we got that out of the way. It's important contextually.
Hey. Hey, you little Italian squeegee, don't you ever besmirch Val Kilmer's name again. You understand me?
What was he, goose or something?
Go.
You hearing me, Maverick?
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to that squeegee.
Yeah, nobody cares.
There he is. Hey,
yes.
Little Italian squeegee. Don't you ever besmirch Val Kilmer's good name again. You understand me?
No, I don't. I love him, but he was hard to work with.
How do you know? Have you ever worked with him?
My cousin in the business.
My cousin. Your cousin told you. Your cousin from your Sally's sister side.
Listen to me. Go watch the movie God Pocket. My cousin is the guy that drives the truck and has dialogue with this guy and about buying meat. But he doesn't want to buy the meat because there's a dead body with the meat.
I could care. I don't know what you're rambling on about. You just bought your tone.
I'm not throwing information out there. I got it through a good source.
Did you say there's some cheap meat going? I heard cousin and cheap meat. I'm in.
For some reason, my Wi-Fi just died.
Yeah, because I came in and was scolding your dumbass.
I like Val Kilmer.
I like Val Kilmer too. Please share the show. It's moments like these that we know why we are here and why we do what we do. Yeah? Val Kilmer is very important to us.
Yeah, between these and the mics.
Oh, shut up, you. I wish I'd never done these mics. I'm never going to live it down. Got to keep the mortgage paid. Yeah, we're overdue on the live stream now, so I'm kind of past caring now. You know, any tertiary watchers of this like underappreciated, undersubscribed to live stream that we're currently taking part in, yeah, they've already tuned out by now. So I'm going to carry on live, but I'm going to play Fortnite. I'll be honest. I'm just gonna say I'm not even going to pretend that's not the case. As long as this stream is going right, I am in charge of this space. This is my space. Right, there's no kids. The wife's going to keep them off my case. I can actually have a game of Fortnite, so I'm going to take advantage of this very, very quiet lull before the storm that is going to be when we're promoting the book. You notice I said we. When we are promoting that book, hard.
Yeah. There's another issue coming up.
Don't tell me about issues. Tell me about solutions.
I got the solution.
You speak corporate.
I've had the solution. Yeah. Oh, I already have. You already know. If there's an issue, I got the solution. Yeah, I got it. All right. Don't you worry about that.
I'm glad we had this conversation. Let's do this again.
Yeah, we will. It might be momentarily, by the way.
Mike, I've got several high quality mics. Well, this was good. I'm glad we did this.
Me too.
What were you saying, Neil? Come again?
Me three.
Talk about free meat.
Yeah, my cousin was the truck driver, and he was supposed to buy meat from Philip Seymour Hoffman, but he had a dead body in the same truck where the meat was. So they had this dialogue back and forth. My cousin's like, "I'm not buying the freaking meat. It might be contaminated." I'll see if I can find it.
Why didn't you ever get into acting, Neil?
That's a good question.
Yeah, you've got all the makings of a great actor. Drug abuse, terrible attitude. You could have gone far.
Difficult to work with.
Difficult to work with, pain in the ass, keeps interrupting, doesn't know when to talk.
What about
I am not difficult to work with.
Just the fact that you said that sentence is indicative of somebody
I'm
difficult
always
to work
happy.
with.
I just have a great memory, and when things are
might be
promised me and they
Batman
don't
in
happen,
disguise as somebody else, but always that.
just
Nobody
know I'm
who's-
very aware.
Nobody who's easy to work with ever has to say the sentence, I am not difficult to
What
work
are you
with.
talking about? I wear Spider-Man shirt every other day. The Venom and Spider shirt. Venom and Spider-Man, and I got a regular, just a Spider-Man.
Who's Chocolate talking to? Is he talking to us about Spider-Man?
Supposed to be like mug.
Is he talking to his better half? You discussing your kink, Chocolate? No, maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't. I don't care, I'm still going to stay alive. Reckon Adam will join us? Once Adam does, I will actually round out this live stream. But in the meantime, we'll wait for Adam. You were saying that you've experienced a bit of a lull recently, QE.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's because the impression needs to be that Flat Earth is dying on its arse because of the TFE. That's why you're experiencing a lull.
Really?
Yeah. They need it to seem like there's been a, quote, exodus, like everyone's gone. So where we were moaning about having all the Flat Earthers seemingly rounded up, like corralled, now that they're being disbanded, like Jaren's disbanding all of that group of feast of nonsense spewing numpties that we didn't like anyway and were constantly criticising. Well, they're the ones with a flat earth belief that were capable of being disbanded. But we can't be around saying Earth's measured flat while that's happening, can we? So we're censored to all frig at the moment. That's why I'm like, I don't mind being live and playing a bit of Fortnite. Like, who cares? What difference does it make? We're not reaching anybody at the moment. I mean, as much as I appreciate everyone who's watching live right now, right? You're all smashing the share button. We'll reach the already connected with what we do here, and they might, you know, come along. But as for, you know, widening our reach, at least for the now, that's just not going to happen. I'm not saying don't try. I mean, we'll still do what we do, but for at least a short period of time, just don't worry about it. Don't go out of your way to produce amazing videos thinking you're going to change the world with them, because we're just so heavily censored at the moment. Like, to the point where it's so obvious. And I know you have experienced this because you know, without going or re-divulging a conversation that we had only a few days back. Yeah? That's a cause and effect thing, right?
I don't know about that.
Oh, okay.
I was onto something a little bit more specific,
But do you disagree? Okay, maybe not on that line, but would you agree that given the positioning of TFE and what they're suggesting, which is everyone's all, you know, disappearing from the subject, that is very much non-conducive with what we do, talking about Earth being measured flat, and, you know, us saying it's game over and things like that isn't really going to sit well with the people who are saying, oh no, it's all game over now, right? We've seen the sun go round in a circle off a flat plane. You know, that sort of thing. They don't want that. So we need to be
Is
sensitive.
this a rhetorical question?
No, it's not a question. It's a statement of fact. You can't have us doing what we do.
No.
With the
You
public.
said, do you agree? No, that's a question.
Yeah, you're right.
So, and then you went on and on and on. Now, I don't know about your little muddled composition you got going on right there. I really don't care about that. No, I don't agree.
Yeah, you don't even know what you're agreeing with.
Sure, whatever. Well, we got another mission on the horizon. Maybe it'll take our focus away from your muddled composition of the pseudoscientific non-experiment. Can't wait till December. Or shit.
Does it have anything to do with war?
Well, there was a lot invested in that. You pass it off like no big deal, can't wait till December. But that was a big deal for them, you know, there was a lot invested in that, right? That's a big undertaking for them. So for us, just our show goes on, who cares? Earth's still measured flat. That was my point, that you were like, oh, you're rambling. We can't be talking about this, can we?
Muddled composition.
Oh, no, it isn't. Killing me.
Killing me.
Well, hopefully we'll get a
relate.
video together tomorrow to react to, because this is killing me. I at least hoped we'd have some mics to review. Nothing's coming.
We got Ballbusters on Saturday.
Are we doing Ballbusters? Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be a packed weekend for me. Going for a curry tomorrow, and then Ballbusters on Saturday. Jolly good.
Yeah, didn't you hear? We were talking about it on QE Live.
No, nobody tells me anything.
All 5 hours?
Nobody cares. Nobody tells me anything. It's like I don't even exist.
We told you on QE Live.
I wasn't on QE Live.
I know, but you were in the audience for a little while. Maybe not the whole 5 hours.
Yeah, okay, well, that's as good as giving me a direct message. I mean, you know, talking about it during a 5 hour live stream is as good as telling me, I guess.
You don't answer your direct messages.
Yeah, but I can say that if you've sent me one. If you'd have sent me a direct message about it, I'd be like, oh, well, you know I don't answer my direct messages.
He answers me.
No, I don't. Don't pretend like I am.
So I got to show proof?
That's a lie. Oh, yeah, you're right. You talked about Banjo saying I was a Freemason, and I have mentioned that on a live show. So I can't really get away with denying that.
Did Banjo mention you were a Freemason?
He suspects I'm a Freemason. It's because I keep trying to stop my clock. I don't actually know. I didn't watch that particular one. I didn't find that out, Neil. Was there 2 occasions?
Yes, he does. Well, he's not outright saying it, but what he's saying is you shouldn't make these hand gestures, because you're going to be affiliated with them. So if you're not with them, don't portray that you're with them.
What
but he
hand
likes
gestures?
you, he said.
What hand gestures? Hand gestures? I'm not even on camera most of the time.
He's got a whole bunch of pictures of you with Masonic signs.
Me doing
What are you doing,
666 or
like the
something,
Baphomet
like the
shit?
OK sign. Like if you're underwater diving and you go OK. 666.
Yes, things like that. Exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
That means I'm a Freemason. I'm not a Freemason.
Yeah, that's what I said to him. I could show you pictures where you could say I'm a Freemason then because you're caught doing something, what, making a peace sign?
Ugh.
What if you are?
What if I was just watching Naruto and doing ninja signs? Like, what? How do you know it's not ninja signs?
Ninja signs? What's a ninja sign?
It's an anime thing.
Anime thing.
The black power hand, right?
No, that's not what he means. He said it's an anime thing.
No.
NWO.
NWA?
NWO.
No.
He's throwing up them signs, that's why.
Fight the
He
power.
doesn't know it also stands for New World Order, that's why.
Oh, New World Order. Is that what Freemasons represent then? The New World Order?
No, so you're throwing up signs for the niggas with attitude. He doesn't know that, and it's NWO is New World Order.
Yeah, well, we were talking about NWA earlier. I'm slightly confused, but that's probably because I'm not a Freemason. Is exactly what I'd say if I wasn't one. Or was one. Yeah. Either way, I'm not a Freemason. I've got no interest in Freemasonry either.
Would it matter anyway?
Yeah, it would.
Well, no, it wouldn't. You have to prove without a shadow of doubt that somebody is like at a very high level Freemason. The lower ones don't know shit.
But what would they know? I don't really get it. If I was a Freemason, I'm not. But if I was, what would it mean beyond what I say? I say Earth's measured flat because it is. And then let's hypothetically say I'm a Freemason as well. Okay. And then what? Okay, so he says Earth's measured flat, gives examples of Earth being measured flat, but he's a Freemason. Okay, who gives a shit? Who cares? Let's try that again. Who cares?
That's absolutely hilarious. What the hell?
I'm serious, Mickey Mouse.
First, being a flat earther.
But what difference does it make if I say Earth's measured flat and then somebody proves I'm a Freemason, which I am not? No one's ever going to prove I'm a Freemason. But if they did, does it change what I've said?
That's what I'm saying. That's absolutely hilarious.
Ha. That'll be the Adam Meakin joining. Good evening, sir.
Oh, really?
Yes, it is.
I'm listening.
Yeah, because then it means a book, Dewey.
Yes, it does. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's live and after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.